Thanks for tuning in to the Cardinal Report. I'm Justin Zipser. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take you inside North Central College athletics, recapping the fall season for some of North Central's biggest sports. We'll sit down with some of the people that made headlines for the Cards, but first, let's hit rewind and get you caught up on fall athletics season that was. Last time we talked to men's and women's soccer, both teams were in a late season swoon and needed a big comeback effort to make each of their respective CCIW postseason tournaments. Unfortunately, the men's team dropped 3 of its final 4 matches. Even though the team was out of tournament contention by the last game of the season, Coach Matt Klosterman and company sent out the seniors in style with a 3-2 win over conference foe Illinois Wesleyan. Jake Mashinsky, Joey Fellini, and Lucas Habib each scored goals for North Central. More good news for the team after a 7-8-3 overall season. Mashinsky and Michael Lenzi each nabbed second-team All-CCIW honors. That was especially special for Mashinsky. The senior missed the first 9 games of the season due to injury, but still connected on 4 goals. After a tournament trip last year, the women's team stumbled in 2013, finishing with a record of 2-12-1. The team won its 2 games back-to-back in the middle of the season against Beloit College and conference opponent Millikan University. Senior forward Hope Stayer grabs second-team All-CCIW honors and ends her North Central career with 38 career goals, tying her for first all-time in program history with 2002 graduate Christy Guido. The women's volleyball team also took a step back this fall after finishing second in the conference in 2012. Despite strong efforts and matches all season long, the Cards dropped 6 of their 7 conference matches. Jessa Fiala, a third-team All-CCIW selection. Women's cross country completed a strong season with a core group of young runners. After finishing 4th in last year's CCIW championship meet, this year's Cardinals were just a point away from the meet's winner, Augie. At Midwest Regionals, Chris Dakota, Jackie McCown, Nora Ferguson, Caitlin Zumpf, and Helen Meyer all helped North Central to a 6th place finish in the 38-team field. The winter slate of athletics has just begun, headlined by women's and men's basketball. The Lady Cards have already set a single-game points record not once, but twice. The team opened its season with a home win against Ripon College with a 113-111 overtime thriller. Deja Moore connected on a layup at the end of the second half to give the Gregory Arena crowd some free basketball. She laid it in again with 7 seconds left in OT to give North Central the decisive basket. 5 nights later, NCC scored 123 points against Lake Forest College, setting the record again. The men's team took a 19-game home winning streak into the winter. Season-opening win against Valor Christian College moved it to 20, but it would get no bigger. The streak was snapped the very next night against a hot-shooting DePauw University squad. The streak spanned across 3 different seasons. The Cardinals and preseason All-American Landon Gamble planning their return trip to the national semis come March. Astute viewers will notice we left out one dominant North Central squad, men's cross country. That's because in a few moments we're joined by a few Cardinal Harriers to talk about the team's quest for 3 straight national championships. Keep it locked right here. 8-time Division III cross country coach of the year Al Carius joins us next on the Cardinal Report.
Yes, ready. Let's go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
We're back on the Cardinal Report. As promised, we're joined by North Central College men's cross country coach Al Carius. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
So we kind of previewed it before. You went for your 3rd straight national championship. You came up just a couple of points short to St. Olaf, a school in Minnesota. But really, if you compare this race that you ran, an excellent race, to last season's race, it was a much better race for your team. Just came up a little short because the competition is getting a little bit better. What did you see out of St. Olaf? It was the first time you saw them this past weekend.
You know, it really was a great match with 2 great teams. I mean, St. Olaf is an outstanding team, and you know, they had an outstanding score. When you get scores under 100 points at the national championship, you're in position to win. They had 84, we had 86. It was 2 great teams that battled it out. So I saw very well matched teams, and they just, you know, came out on top on that particular day.
And obviously the goal was to win the national championship. You came just a couple points short, but really the season was very successful. You won the CCIW championship again, Midwest Regionals for the 6th straight time. Really, you saw a lot of personal bests this year, and What did you see out of the runners for you?
I think you said it, best, right there. I think at the beginning of the year, the question is asked every year, okay, what is your goal for the team? Mm-hmm. And it's become a pretty patent answer, an easy answer for me, and I say it every year. My goal for our team is to see improvement. I feel that we're highly successful if we grow from the beginning of the year with whatever team we have to become our best at the end of the year. I feel very badly, and this has happened, from time to time, where we're not making the kind of significant improvement that I think that we're capable of making. Mm-hmm. So with this particular year, 2 points separated two great teams, but we were highly successful, and I felt that we won in losing the race by our tremendous growth that took place from last year to this year. Last year, we win a national championship with 167 points. And this year, we get second with 86 points. So the bottom line is not really the point total, but is the growth that took place from last year to this year. And in order to have that kind of growth with the team, you have to have individual personal best, individual growth. And really, in a program, a Division III program, my goal and objective for our athletes is to grow individually and collectively to be the very, very best that they can be. So there was a lot of growth this year and a great deal of satisfaction. So even though we didn't win with the point total, we certainly won by the process and won by the life lessons that we accomplished during the year.
Yeah, I think it's easy for a coach to say these kind of things, but it's another for the players to actually agree with you. And we talked with Roger Cline after the race, and he had an All-American finish in this race, and he said, that's nice and everything, but really I'm so proud of the way this team grew since last year. What are the type of lessons that you think this team learned, not only on the course, but off it as well on a personal level?
Well, I think that, certainly you can look at the physical, side of things and say, hey, physically, we were at our very, very best at the end of the year. And you're talking about Roger Cline. Roger Cline, as a freshman in our conference cross-country meet, was our 34th runner on our team. And here to place as an All-American and get 10th in the national championship, 6th in the team score, is tremendous growth. That's physical growth. But more importantly, it's what's happening on the inside of them. And I think the great John Wooden really said it best years and years and years ago. You build an athlete from the inside out. And what I feel is the most important a part of that growth process are the internal values, the internal characteristics: commitment, discipline, work ethic, loyalty, dealing with disappointment, how we responded by losing by 2 points, how we respond when we win, being, a classy program. And in my office, I have a sign, and, it may seem trite and hackneyed and maybe like it's just words for some people, but we take it very seriously, and that's developing winners in life. So we want the process of being on the track and cross-country programs at North Central College to help our athletes to learn characteristics that are going to remain with them and help them throughout their life in their vocations and their whatever they choose to do in life. So those internal values are far more important than what their times, places are.
They certainly are, but before we get into some of those values and stuff like that, let's go back to the race, see exactly how North Central grabbed second in nationals this year.
There's the prize for 32 teams in Hanover, Indiana for the 8K Division III National Championships. Carius and North Central looking for their third consecutive national title. Coach's ace in the hole, John Crain, the Midwest Region Athlete of the Year and Regional Individual Champ. Roger Cline also cracked the top 10 in the Midwest Regionals. Tim Hurt also part of the 7 Cardinal runners vying for the crown. Lots of fans packing the course that runs just under 5 miles. Bobby Over from Allegheny, the top returner from last year's race, finished second. Here's the start of the race. North Central lined up in the middle of your screen in the team's iconic candy stripe outfits. 2 kilometers in, Eli Horton from Iowa Central College in the top spot, Wally Mangelsdorf from Principian second. Crain leading a large group of runners vying for third in the early going. A whole crew of St. Olaf runners in the group, Cline 22nd, Hurd 31st. About a half mile later at the 3rd kilometer, Crain overtakes Mangelsdorf for second. St. Olaf's Grant Winheiser joins the top 5 in the bronze and black top. Cline retains position at 22nd. Hurd drops to 40th. Troy Kelleher and Ryan Root show up among the sea of humanity in the low 60s. We're at 6 kilometers now. Leduc and Crain neck and neck for first place. Out of the Forest area, we see Klein up to 9th, Kelleher and Hurd at 47 and 48 respectively. North Central needs a late push. Let's skip to the finish line. Connecticut College's Michael Leduc, your national champion, 24-29-3. Crain finishes second, 4 seconds behind. St. Olaf runners Winheiser and Jake Brown in at 3rd and 8th respectively. Klein with a great last effort to the line beats out a group for 10th. Hurd at 33rd, great comeback for the senior. Kelleher in 2 spots behind him, Root in at 48 with a 25-32-2. Sneaking in at 65 is Olaf runner Calvin Len. The sophomore's finish is the difference between 1st and 2nd for North Central. The Minnesota school finishes with a team score of 84, NCC with an 86, and a heartbreaking 2nd place finish.
So looking at the race, we saw 2K through about like 4 or 6K. Your runners holding back a little bit. They made that last great push at the end there. What'd you see at the end that almost nabbed that victory?
I think you answered your own question. What I saw at the end was a surge that almost nabbed the victory.
Yep.
And, some say, and I'm not, certain about this, but some say if we had a little bit longer, distance that we would have been able to accomplish that. The point is that it's an 8,000-meter race, and on that particular day, again, we just fell just a bit short, of that. But we felt that we ran the 4 parts of the race very, well, and that is to try to get good position, and it's always a very delicate situation in a cross-country meet. Mm-hmm. Getting out too fast when you've got 275 runners out there, getting out too fast and ahead of yourself can be devastating. And obviously, the other end of the spectrum, getting out too slow and especially when a course is winding around as much as this course did and weaving, that if you're too far back, trying to maneuver your way through the numbers is very difficult. So that fine balance of getting a proper position for you is important. I felt that we did that very effectively as a team. Then we try to find our cadence, our rhythm, to be able to maintain that without continuing that pressing that starts from the beginning of the race. And then the third part of the race is where we feel like we can really make great strides, and that is most people start slowing down at the halfway point because they think subconsciously we've got halfway to go, and so we're going to just kind of hold on here. We say to our athletes we really want to engage our minds at that third part of the race, and that's where we can start passing people. We were making great movement during that time, and we had that movement continue into part 4, which is to be able to close it off. We just, again, as you indicated, fell just a bit short at the end.
All right, well, we'll continue to chat with you in just a couple minutes. Stick with us. More Cardinal Report after the break.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Welcome back. Still with Coach Al Carius for a few more minutes. And Coach took home the USTFCCCA Midwest Region Coach of the Year. Your top runner, John Crain, took in the Athlete of the Year. Let's talk about John a little bit. He ended the year just on a fantastic level. 4 of the last 5 races, he was the top overall finisher, grabbed 2nd overall in nationals. What can you say about this guy's year?
Johnny Crain is, he's got this something, the X factor, or whatever you want to call it, or an accumulation of all the great characteristics and qualities and values that you need to maximize your God-given talent. He's got that within him. And it may be, certainly whenever he runs, it's always going to be the best that he's got. You're not going to have a roller coaster performance with Johnny Crain. You're going to have a consistent, performance that you can count on week after week after week. Does that guarantee winning? Absolutely not. but it does guarantee that whatever he does and however he runs, he knows that he's going to be at the front, group, the front pack, and he's going to be in contention to win.
And he's among a large group of seniors as well. What do you think this senior group has taught some of the younger guys like Troy Kelleher, sophomores that, will be in, obviously in your top 5 or 4 next year, that they're going to learn some lessons from this group this year?
You're asking tremendous, questions, and ironically, on the bus ride back from the national championship, Troy Kelleher spoke to that very point and said how much he appreciated the senior upper class leadership that helped him to get to where he is. So I can communicate with them, but they really send the message to the rest of the athletes, and it trickles down to the freshmen, sophomores on our team. So our upper class leaders were fantastic, and we're going to miss them tremendously. And right now, in fact, in the coaching staff, that's what we're talking about. Who are the new leaders that we're going to be depending on for next year to replace these great leaders, guys like Johnny Crain and the others that you mentioned?
John, among a large group of senior leaders on this team, which definitely added to its maturity level along the way. Let's hear from some other runners in a Cardinal Report edition of What's the Word?
We really matured, and like last year, 2 All-Americans versus this year's 4. And objectively, we were a lot more mature team, and unfortunately 6 of us are graduating, but I think we're 6 out of the top 10 are leaving, so I think we're handing it down to 3 guys that know how to do what needs to be done to get an accomplishment done. So like I said, the maturity level of this team has skyrocketed since last year's nationals, and I think we left it in good hands for next year.
I think that's the greatest part of our team. We have strong leadership. We have a great senior class that unfortunately is leaving us this season. But I think that's why our program is such a perennial national contender, is because we have great leadership like John Crain and Rogers.
I came back for a 5th year, and it's kind of my last chance. So be a cross-country All-American, it's special. I'm sure I'll be able to appreciate it much more after today, maybe a week or 2 later when I actually sit down and look at the season. But it's special to be on this team. It's special to be at this school. It's one of those things where most teams getting second would be probably ecstatic, but it's special to be here, and I'm glad I made the choice to come here.
And after the race this past weekend, you said that this journey was more beneficial than in years past. Why do you think that?
I think that I wouldn't say necessarily more beneficial than years past, but certainly very, very beneficial from last year to this year, and very productive and very, what do I want to say? There was tremendous growth that took place. And again, based on the statistic of looking at it last year, where I thought I was very, very, very proud of our team. It was like pulling rabbits out of a hat to find out who's going to be in the lineup this week and that week. We had so much, turnover within our team, injuries and sickness and so forth and so on. But every time we put a new lineup out, they responded, and to win the national championship was miraculous. I was so proud of what they were able to accomplish. But we knew that 167 points is you're pretty vulnerable, because it does generally take under 100 points to win a national title. So from 167 points last year to 86 points this year, statistically shows tremendous growth physically, emotionally, maturity-wise, and all these characteristics that are critically important underneath performance to really assure being the very, very best you can be individually and collectively.
Well, certainly, I think you're one of the best to ever teach that to your students and your runners, one of the best to ever do it, Coach. We appreciate your time. Thanks for coming.
I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me.
That's Coach Al Carius. When we return, John Crain joins us next on the Cardinal Report.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Welcome back to the Cardinal Report. I'm Justin Zipser, and now we're joined by the Midwest Region Athlete of the Year, John Crain. John, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And John, I know you were disappointed. You told us as much after the national race, coming in second overall, still a fantastic finish. You're a couple days removed from the finish, which kind of gives you a little bit of perspective. Looking back on the season that was, what'd you think of how you did and the team in general?
I mean, I couldn't be more proud of how the team did. On the bus ride back, we were just talking about again, like how Al talked about, just the amount of growth that this team's experienced. It's been an amazing ride just to watch. The now seniors when I was a freshman with them, seeing where they've come from and realizing that we've changed so much. And so the season's been an amazing season. We had our goal was to go good to great because we'd been a good team the last couple of years, but we want to take that to the next level. And even though we didn't win a national championship, I do fully believe that we did become a great team, and we became an extremely close team. And individually, obviously my goal was to win an individual national championship, as long as that didn't risk me not covering my spot at nationals for the team. And I was able to chase after that while still being able to hold down a top spot for our team. So I gave it everything I had. I can't be mad at myself for it. It's just, on that day, he had a little bit more than me.
And you're referring to LeDuc, the runner from Connecticut College, who was running for Connecticut College, a team that didn't have enough runners to register a team score. So you still had that #1 spot as far as getting the #1 for the team score. So it all worked out pretty well in that regard. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good point you made, going from good to great. We talked about with Coach about how the team score from last year to this year was essentially almost cut in half. So you went from good to great, but still came up second. How would you judge the way the competition has risen a little bit here in recent years at nationals?
Well, going to good to great isn't just necessarily seen in the score. That's an objective way, but because the good to great was also more of a team-wise, how the pieces fit in together and how people covered the rules, and again watching people grow. And then in terms of competing with other teams, we weren't really sure what St. Olaf had. We had seen they had some good results earlier in the year, but honestly going in, they weren't a team that I really had considered that much as a team to be one of our top competitors. So when I turned around in the finish, waiting for my teammates to finish to see where they were in relative spots, I wasn't even looking for St. Olaf jerseys. So I was in complete shock actually when I found out that we had lost, because again, I wasn't even looking for them. I was looking for some other schools in the finish shoot. But I think it's a testament to how strong the nation is getting year in and year out. I think every year, that it's a little bit harder. The nation gets a little bit better as a whole, and I think that's kind of fun watching us trying to compete with that and keep up with that, because each year it takes a little bit faster to make for example track nationals or something like that, and I think that's really cool to see.
Yeah, as John just alluded to, the fact that the runners across the nation are getting better. Let's hear from some other runners on the team about the race heating up in recent years in another edition of What's the Word?
It was a tough race. We knew it was going to be tough. I knew we knew we were down, about 2K left. One of our coaches told us, and knew it was St. Olaf. And me and Troy Keller, number 4, moved up really well. And I honestly thought we did enough to get it, but I guess we came up just short today.
It was definitely a stressful race. It was very crowded the entire time. And coming around with 1 lap to go, I saw that we were in second place, and I caught one of my teammates, and I told him, we're in second place, we need to move. And we just started picking guys off. So I know everyone on our team gave it their all, even though we got second. But it's hard to be upset when we ran as hard as we did.
Any of the guys will tell you that I don't really pay attention to a lot of the competition on the field, and it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because I'm not really intimidated by much because I don't know who they are, and it's a bad thing because sometimes I don't know the jerseys I'm gunning for. But the field it's a national field, and a second national field, and it's competitive. It's probably the hardest field I've ever ran on. So, I really can't say anything else. It's tough, and I gave it my all.
So we know that St. Olaf, that was a team that you saw for the first time this past weekend. How difficult is that? I know you go in, there's a ton of teams, a ton of runners. You really can only worry about your own race. But what's it like when there's a lot of teams that you don't know what you're going to see out of when you're going into a national meet like this?
Well, you know, a national meet's unlike any other meet that you ever run, and anyone that's ever ran a nationals will tell you that. Just the amount of people, the amount of just the jostling for position, it's really something different. But so we just try to focus on just, there's only one team out there is what we like to say, and that's only us, because we just want to focus on ourselves. Because, I mean, there's, like Al says, there's hoopla like crazy out there. There's people running around in, short shorts with no shirt when it's 20 degrees out and screaming, and, all the chants and stuff. And, I mean, if you get lost in that and you get lost in seeing what everyone else is doing, you can get, you can lose your focus on your own race. So we just like to focus on ourselves, hone in to, where we are in relative position to other runners in the race, and just kind of go from there, because we believe that's the best way to run. As we discussed, you're an accomplished cross-country runner, but you alluded to this a little bit ago about the fact that track and field coming up soon as well. You won the 5K outdoor last year, second in the 5K indoor. What's the season shaping up for track and field? Give us a little preview of what's to come here. Well, not exactly sure yet, but I'm hoping to score as many points as possible for the team at both indoor and outdoor nationals. And I couldn't tell you exactly what events I may run, but whatever it takes to get our team the most amount of points is because I would like to bring home another trophy for North Central. Absolutely. And senior, you got one more trimester of school left, but as far as cross country, you're done. And you're such a close-knit team. You guys are like brothers essentially. What do you want to leave this program with as a senior for the younger guys? We talked about this with Coach a little bit, but what do you personally want to leave a legacy for with these younger runners? What I was thinking about this question actually just a little bit ago. The kind of like the legacy I'd like to leave is to let the other guys know that never to set your expectations too low. I feel like a lot of times people think that this is all they can do, and then they settle with it. And I think if you always strive to jump farther, to run faster than you ever have before, that's really what I want to leave this team with, is just letting them know it doesn't matter where you came from or what you're doing or what's even happened. All it takes is, just believing in yourself, and you can go and do just about anything. And Al talks about, your body won't go where your mind hasn't already been. Larry Bird has a quote, I'm paraphrasing, but it says, I believe if you give 100% of yourself all the time, somehow in the end, things will work out no matter what. I think that's pretty cool. I've heard a couple of basketball quotes here, John Wooden and Larry Bird. We appreciate it, guys. We wish you luck for the rest of career after college, and congratulations on just a fantastic college career, John. Thank you so much. That's it for the fall. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again once we start up our winter season in 2014. Until next time, I'm Justin Zipser for the Cardinal Report.